where gold-plated supercars rush like lightning on the glittering boulevards, where proud skyscrapers stand tall as a testament to absolute power. Dubai has long been praised as a man-made wonder, where every dream seems to come true. But hidden behind that glittering curtain is a truth that no one wants to mention, a dark secret that is carefully hidden. Thousands of immigrant workers have flocked here with the hope of changing their lives. But what they received was not a dream, but a nightmare with no way out. They live. A perfect stage is set up, where tourists only see the shimmering shell, while the bitter truth is buried in the darkness. And today, we will lift the curtain to see the true face of Dubai, where dreams and nightmares coexist. Dubai is a city bigger than you might imagine, with skyscrapers and glittering shopping malls. Everything here is meticulously designed to impress and amaze the world. However, this magnificent city, considered by many to be the capital of the future, has a hidden dark side that few people know about. A side that is the complete opposite of its dazzling splendor, a suffocating and dark life. That place is called Sonapur, a name that is unfamiliar to most visitors and a place far from the tourist areas. But for thousands of miles, Dubai is located in the Arabian Desert, on the southeastern coast of the Persian Gulf. This strategic location makes it easily accessible to the Middle East, Europe, Asia, and Africa. Dubai is part of the United Arab Emirates, UAE, a country made up of 7 emirates. Dubai is just one of them. A fact that may surprise many, right? In addition to Dubai, the UAE also includes Abu Dhabi, Fujairah, Ras Al Khaimah, Sharjah, Al Quwain, and Ajman. Although Dubai is the most famous, the capital of the country is Abu Dhabi. Dubai is an impressive city built in one of the harshest climates on Earth. The city is constantly changing. The challenges it faces and the stories of its triumphs are not only astonishing but also inspiring. Set amidst vast sand dunes and bathed in the sunshine of the Persian Gulf, Dubai presents a fascinating contrast. On one side is the glittering lights of skyscrapers and bright streetlights. On the other side are endless stretches of desert sand. At first glance, all you see is sand and sun, but Dubai surprises with its diverse landscape. The city that is today, a symbol of wealth and modernity, actually had a very different beginning. At the beginning of the 20th century, Dubai was just a small fishing village. The local port contributed to the development of the region, promoting maritime trade and pearling, making Dubai an important commercial center in the Arab world. However, real development began in 1966 when oil was discovered in the Fateh field, about 120 kilometers from the city. The oil boom was just the beginning. Dubai did not sit idly by. Over time, the city diversified its economy into trade, finance, services, and tourism. As a result, Dubai today is no longer dependent on oil and takes on a new look every day. However, in this transformation, investors have focused on visual changes, leaving behind the fundamentals. One of the most famous examples globally is the long line of sewage trucks used to treat the city's wastewater. While these images are old and many of the problems have been resolved, they show that the government has prioritized building large buildings before building the necessary infrastructure. Although rarer, Dubai still relies on tanker trucks, as the city's sewer system is not expected to be completed until 2025. Before we continue, we have a small request. If you like this content, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like this video. More than 80% of people watch videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it helps us a lot. So please click the subscribe button. Thank you very much for subscribing. Now, let's get back to the video. As Dubai grew, it consistently appeared in the top rankings of the world. However, its freshwater resources were used to build buildings and infrastructure. And what happened? Agricultural land was drastically reduced due to desertification. In the mid-2000s, the UAE ranked first in the world in per capita water consumption, with overuse of freshwater and natural resources. This situation was poorly addressed by short-term subsidy schemes and poor decisions. These factors combined to increase the country's dependence on imports to meet its food production needs and force the country to introduce strict policies on supply management while trying to accommodate its population as reasonably as possible. Want some fun numbers? As mentioned, Dubai is home to over 3 million people, and believe it or not, almost 90% of them are foreigners. Dubai is a unique city where tradition and modernity coexist. Traditional souks sit alongside glamorous high-rises, and cutting-edge technology meets ancient culture. It is a multicultural city where Islam is the dominant religion and luxury is the core brand. Today, Dubai is home to some of the world's greatest architectural marvels. From the world's tallest building, the Burj Khalifa, to the man-made palm-shaped island, and it prides itself on being modern and flashy. Tourism is a vital pillar of the economy, and every new structure that goes up seems to shout, "Welcome to the future." Now that you have the geographical and cultural context, let's talk about the real deal, the Dubai that isn't in the guidebooks. You know the saying, from rags to scum. Here, it makes sense. Imagine crossing an invisible line. On one side are Dubai's five-star hotels, artificial beaches, and fancy restaurants where tourists soak up the sun. On the other side is a region that seems to exist in a parallel universe, where the glitz and glamour turns into a daily struggle for survival. That place is Sonapur, home to migrant workers who have built the Dubai dream but live in a reality far removed from luxury and ostentation. Instead of the glittering images on social media, Sonapur is filled with cramped shacks where people share space, from rooms to the drudgery of daily life. After all, for everything to shine, someone has to pay the price. Yes, literally, it is luxury and filth. To understand why this divide is so extreme, we need to go back a little. In the 1960s, Dubai was just a small fishing village under British rule, where people made a living by fishing and trading. Life was simple, with camel herders crossing the desert. But then everything changed. Oil was discovered. The village became one of the richest places on the planet, and the city was turned upside down, attracting opportunity seekers from all over the world in a modern-day gold rush. That's when the campaign to attract workers from other countries began. Today, about 85% of Dubai's population is foreign. They come from South Asia, the Middle East, Europe, and even the United States. This cultural melting pot seems to make the city a unique place, open to everyone, right? And to some extent, it is. However, some people stay at the top, while others struggle to survive at the bottom. In Sonapur, the lives of the workers are a stark contrast to the glitz of the city center. Their homes are makeshift, unfinished shacks with no doors or windows, and the heat is almost unbearable. In a city where temperatures can reach 50 degrees Celsius, fans are minimal, and cooling is a luxury. So why do these people put up with such conditions? The answer to why they live in these conditions is much more complicated than you might think. It is important to remember that they are leaving in search of better conditions. Many workers hope that the money they earn will help them pay for their children's education and provide a better life for their families back home. But unfortunately, a kind of mafia exists here. There are many companies that recruit workers from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and the Philippines, bringing them here with promises of housing, food, transportation, everything they need, and even health insurance. However, when these workers arrive in Dubai, the reality is very different. They realize that so why don't they just leave? Most lose their rights as soon as they set foot in the UAE. Their passports are confiscated by their employers upon arrival. For many, taking any job is the only way to survive. So these workers are trapped in a vicious cycle, living with very limited means. While this may seem acceptable compared to the minimum wage in some countries, imagine living on such a low salary in a place where everything is so expensive. The solution is communal living. On average, each worker shares a room with 5 others to save as much money as possible and ensure basic needs: food, clothing, and transportation. The workdays for these workers are long and grueling. The men in Sonapur often live in minimal sanitary conditions. Dubai living spaces are cramped, with 10 to 15 people sharing a small room measuring just 10 square meters. Sanitation facilities are often communal, with toilets and showers shared among several people, and are often poorly maintained. Showers are rare, and for many, buckets are the solution. Kitchens are also communal, often filthy, and completely out of compliance with the quality standards of other countries. Many workers cram into improvised spaces. The most frightening thing is that even the pipes and ventilation spaces are built by the workers themselves, without any supervision from the authorities. Although many of the housing units have air conditioning due to the high temperatures in the area, maintenance is not always appropriate, affecting the quality of life of the workers. In other words, this is an almost inhumane life. Salaries that initially seemed like a promise of a better future were eventually insufficient to cover living expenses and send money home. The prospect of prosperity turned into a struggle for mere survival. Many immigrants ended up in debt, trapped in a cycle of poverty and exhaustion, with hopes of a fresh start fading. Now you can see why they can't leave. With no passports, no money, and debt, how can they leave? Not to mention the fact that many of these workers are not paid. It's not hard to find workers holding signs begging their employers to pay them. In this dark situation, even more disturbing events occurred. Imagine spending years away from your family, not just physically, but also emotionally. These workers came here with dreams and energy, but over time, the promise of a better life in Dubai turned into a destructive routine, draining them both physically and mentally. They worked endlessly, drifting on a journey with no end in sight, while the glitter of the city glimmered in the distance. And it is not just physical fatigue. The mental battle is also fierce. Loneliness is constant, and the emptiness is immense. Many people fall into a state of apathy, where every day is the same, colorless, and hopeless. The lights of Dubai, once a symbol of a new beginning, have now become a suffocating and overwhelming shadow. For some, this burden becomes unbearable, making life meaningless. While they live on bare necessities, luxury in Dubai reaches unimaginable levels. Gold-plated cars, lavish mansions, fairy tale-like designer goods. And yes, these things are possible in the UAE. They possess an incredible wealth, and a population that seems oblivious to the human cost of maintaining this greatness. If you are planning to visit Dubai, a word of warning is in order. The areas where these workers live are considered dangerous areas. They are banned by local authorities, so stay away, for obvious reasons. The misery, neglect, and brutal realities of these communities do not fit the city's image of luxury. Anyone looking at Dubai from the outside sees a modern paradise where anything is possible, but this image is carefully crafted. The five-star hotels, award-winning restaurants, and exclusive events only tell part of the story. The truth is that behind the glitter lies a system that exploits the most vulnerable, turning workers into cogs in a relentless machine. While tourists return home with memories of a city filled with charm, migrant workers carry the burden of a life they sacrificed for a dream that was never truly theirs. Sonapur is a dark reminder that the luxury of a few is built on the sacrifice of many. But will this story ever become part of the Dubai story? Or will it remain hidden in the dark side of the city as it continues to grow? Leave your thoughts on the reality of Dubai in the comments below. If you enjoyed this content, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.